Hi, and welcome back to Energy Conscious Art. I'm Ross Drago, and today's painting is going to be A Walk in Awareness. I had originally titled it A Walk in the Void, and when you see the video, you'll understand why I was undecided as to which the title should be. So, without hesitation, let's look at A Walk in Awareness. Again, the title of this painting is A Walk in Awareness. In it we see a young girl walking very comfortably up a street. She walks on a sidewalk that is illuminated much like an ancient sacred manuscript. The buildings on this street seem conceptual, like a stage set. The stars and the space surrounding the Earth are visible through the planet itself. The stars are also visible through the buildings, as well as through the sidewalk and through the young girl. This painting is clearly about infinite space. It is a painting really of the void. It juxtaposes the void to very recognizable symbols: houses, sidewalks, a young girl, so that we could dramatize our sense of the vastness of that space. Why have I chosen to call it A Walk in Awareness? The reason is a little complex, but I think quite amazing. In order to understand the relationship between the void and awareness, how those two can connect together, I would ask you to partake in a small experiment. I would ask you to close your eyes and imagine that you are the infinite emptiness, the void itself. I would like you to fill the emptiness. Be completely infinite. Tell me when you get there. When you get there, you realize you're not there. You must have infinite space beyond. And so you expand to infinity once again. You keep expanding until finally you feel, this is fullness. I am the void complete. But if it feels like it's finite and complete, it can't be infinite. It must still go on. It must go on forever, infinitely distant. No matter how hard you try, you realize the void has a problem. The problem is, the void is infinite. It must be. What else would contain it? But it can't get there. But it is there. I know it is there, but it can't get there. This little argument can go on literally, and does, forever. Because the void is what it cannot be. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like anything we've ever experienced in our lives? I think the answer is yes. It sounds like being itself. We are what we cannot be. It is preposterous being human, It's preposterous being on such a perfectly beautiful planet where everything, for so long at least, has been so, so beautiful. The air, so breathable. The sun, so warm, just warm enough. A little suntan, a fresh breeze, possibly some rain this afternoon. Then the night, cold, sleeping, waking again. All of this is incredibly wonderful. It's so wonderful, you doubt that it can even be, and yet it is. In order to understand how this emptiness can be awareness, we have to look very closely at the void, because, ironically enough, whatever you could say about the void is also true of awareness. Let's look at that more deeply. Let's compare the void a little to awareness. Let's look out to infinity. It's pristine, it's crystal clear. There isn't a speck of dust to interrupt our vision. We look out from this point to infinity, and we see absolutely nothing that can ever harm us or interrupt the silence, the stillness of this void. This is pre-energy. This is emptiness itself. We look out and we see that we are utterly safe. Nothing exists in the universe that could harm us. We relax deeply into that knowledge. But then a sudden doubt comes across our mind. And we say, wait a minute, maybe I'm not seeing to infinity and seeing nothing at all. Maybe it's just the opposite. Maybe I'm completely blind. I have a blindfold on. I can see nothing and I have no idea what's out there. Anything could be inches away from me. I have no way even of defending myself. I'm helpless. We're just talking about the void now. We're not talking about anything. We're talking about nothingness, emptiness forever. And yet, it's exactly like our own awareness, because the second we fell into fear, the very image that we were looking at, which is absolute emptiness, changes 180 degrees into something very frightening. It means, no, we can't see anything. We're in danger here. What's changed? What's changed about that endless emptiness? Absolutely nothing, except the way we interpret it. It either can be infinitely pristine and clear and safe forever, or hiding something in this blackness that we cannot penetrate. But it's identical to what it was an instant ago. It hasn't changed at all. It can't change. It never changes. We change our point of view. The void is a perfect analogy to awareness. So perfect that I can comfortably say the void is awareness, because the void has a problem. And the problem is spatial. And that spatial problem gives birth to what we call awareness, sacred, loving awareness. That's really wonderful. The reason why it's wonderful is because this awareness that we all share in is founded upon the most infinitely stable phenomenon that could ever be. Infinite, absolute emptiness, void. And yet, it is simultaneously infinite fullness, all that there is. We're in a position to see that now. We see that our own awareness comes with a spatial dilemma. And if you think that spatial, having to do with space, is some abstract thing, let's think again about that. Let's think about our human emotions. So human, so ours, so belonging to human beings alone. And yet let's look at them. What is loneliness? That's a kind of emotion. Loneliness, oh yeah, so human. Loneliness means it's all happening way over there, and I'm here, and I can't get there. That's spatial. That's about space. It's happening way over there, and I'm here. Let's talk about depression, another emotion. Very human. I'm down here at the bottom of an ocean of emotion, and everything wonderful is happening way up on the surface, giddily bouncing on those waves, not knowing the truth that I feel of this great depression. That's spatial. It's about space. Depression is, I'm down here. And happiness is way up there, where I cannot get to. That's about space. Let's talk about anger. Oh, anger, now that is so human. I've never seen an angry deer. Well, maybe, actually, deer probably do get angry. I saw one once almost trample a hunter. But let's talk about anger. What is anger? Anger is a small confining tunnel that we find ourselves in that stops us from expanding, standing upward, showing who and what we are. We stand, we break, we explode with energy because we cannot stand the confines. We must be in a bigger space. We must be where we can express all of this incredible energy. We break out of the confines. Well, that's about space too. Love. Love. Two people becoming one. It's space. We are all about space. All of our emotions are spatial expressions. Our awareness is born of a spatial dilemma, to be what it cannot be. Sponsors gives birth to this wonderful sacred awareness that we all share in as a medium that all things are immersed in. This painting is about that space. Of course, Of course, when anyone looks at the painting, they don't see all of this, but this is what I was trying to communicate. It can never be communicated that way. But it's a reminder. This painting is a reminder that we walk through awareness. Everything is immersed in awareness. The stars, the buildings, the sidewalk we walk on. Awareness is not a little package that is inside of our human heads. Awareness is an ocean that we are all immersed in, and it is everywhere. It penetrates the earth, the galaxies, the atoms. Why? Why would it not penetrate all of those things? Why, if awareness is that vast, would it shrink from having every imaginable experience of being? And energy is its medium of self-expression. Everything that exists in the energy universe says, this is what it feels like to be infinite, endless, wondrous, loving awareness. It feels like being a galaxy. It feels like being a star. It feels like being a human being. No. It feels like being this human being. Well, that would be, let's say, a man. A woman might say, no, not quite. Not exactly. It feels more like being a woman, of being able to give birth to life, of being so beautiful. And a man will say, well, it feels like being so strong and alive, and I can move mountains. That's what it feels like. Everything is a description of what it feels like to be infinite, everlasting, immortal awareness. I made this painting on acrylic, on canvas, and I also made it in oil on wood. And let me switch to that one too, because I love that little painting just as well. This painting is the same theme, the same spatial focus. It's much smaller than the other. It's in a wooden box, and the figures, the sidewalk, the houses are made of wood. It's three-dimensional in that sense, about 4 inches deep, maybe 18 by 20 inches. I mentioned that the awareness made of infinite emptiness was loving. How could that be? Because the creation of this universe cannot happen except through staggering love. I've noticed that anger creates almost nothing that lasts. Indifference creates even less. It's love that causes even evolution. For example, look at the development of something like the evolution of the eye to see what is outside, to see that there is life, but it cannot see what is outside, is a very interesting little moment in time, because an eye slowly developed over time because it knew there was something to see. Nothing evolved down a blind alley. We have no strange little appendage at the top of our head designed to witness something that doesn't exist. It didn't evolve and say, oh, well, I thought it was a good idea, but there aren't globulobes to behold or to eat or for whatever reason. No, the eye evolved because what caused it to evolve, which was a love for seeing what was out there, for even sharing that sight, that vision, knowing that so much was out there, it evolved because that force knew both sides. It knew what it was to not see, and it knew what not seeing was missing. It did not evolve indifferent to seeing. It evolved from the joy of seeing, the love of seeing. The development of an immune system was made by a love for not dying of every possible thing that could go wrong. It developed out of a love for life. Love is the only force that can create. The eye didn't develop out of indifference. It certainly didn't develop out of no intelligence. I'll repeat that. The eye did not develop out of no intelligence. I mean, we spend our lives simply trying to understand what's already here, what's already been created. That's science. Science is the art of trying to understand, how did this all come about? These paintings are about space. They're about space because we're about space. We are space. We are space who loves expressing the staggering joy of being infinite awareness. Everywhere we could possibly go already. We are that. Thanks very much. Thanks so much for watching A Walk in Awareness and the second episode of Energy Conscious Art. Next week, we're going to talk about module art that's interactive. And the idea is that the viewer is able to go up to the painting, lift the painting off the canvas, reposition it, and create their own composition. This destroys that strange line between the creator of the painting and the viewer of the painting, because as we will see next week, that line does not really exist. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed today, and I hope to see you again next week. Thanks again. See you soon, I hope. Bye-bye.